How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about this study that came out from this group. I'm not really sure what the group is, but we'll see that in the article once we get to it. But the study says that the U.S. is in the top 10 for the most dangerous nations for women. This is the top 10 on planet Earth, not just in one category of countries, Western countries or whatever. This is the entire Earth, third world countries, China, everywhere. We're going to get into this video. This video is just like a little slideshow, and then they'll show each of the countries and they'll give a particular reason why that country has made the list. And right here it says, for the first time, the United States has been ranked one of the 10 most dangerous countries for women, according to a survey by the Thomson Reuters Foundation. Okay. And we see some stuff going on here. And number 10, the United States. Experts say an increasing awareness of sexual assaults because of the Metoo movement. Yes, the Metoo movement, tolerance for violence, and the prominence of the U.S. globally led to the country being ranked 10th most dangerous overall. Now, this is crazy. Once you see the rest of the list, I've seen this already. And you're going to see a crazy jump from the U.S. where everybody in the world wants to be to these other countries. Let's get to number 9. See the little stuff going on in the background. Yeah. You know, Me Too, hashtag Me Too. They seem very safe. Now, we go to number 9, Nigeria. Now, this one, I mean, come on, Nigeria. That's quite the jump, don't you think, from the United States to Nigeria? Nigeria is basically a third world country. And half of the country in the north is Muslim majority. In that northern region, this is where the Chibok girls were kidnapped. Remember that whole thing with Michelle Obama, bring back our girls? I think it was like 200 to 300 girls that were kidnapped from their school in the middle of the day, broad daylight. Some of them may actually be dead. Some of them got, quote unquote, married off, but you know what that means. That means that they were sold. And some of them got sold into just outright sex slavery. You mean to tell me Nigeria is right next to the United States, as in places that are not safe for women? It doesn't make any sense. And you see what it says. Human rights groups have accused the Nigerian military of killing civilians, torture, and rape as it battles the Islamic extremist militant group Boko Haram in the north. Exactly. So you got a country that's going through civil unrest in a very serious way, not like what we have over here, but we're talking about civil war type stuff. But they're mentioned right next to us as in unsafe countries. And number 8 is Yemen. Yemen is a third world country. They're going through war. I mean, come on. This is really a reach. And of course, Muslim majority. You see the young lady right here in the beekeeper outfit. But I'm to believe that it's not a far cry from the U.S. It's kind of weird. And this says 22 million people in Yemen are in need of vital assistance as the country endures what has been called the world's worst urgent humanitarian crisis. And number 7 is DRC. That's the Democratic Republic of Congo. The United Nations has said factional conflict and violence means millions in DRC face hellish living conditions. So here we're going to the straight third world countries. I mean, you see what's going on here. This is third world violence. Of course, you're going to have unsafe conditions for women and men, of course. Number 6, Pakistan, of course, Muslim majority, Middle East. You already know what time it is, right next to Afghanistan. It says, despite being ranked 6th overall, Pakistan ranked 4th worst for risks women face from traditional religious and cultural practices, including honor killings. It's interesting how they acknowledge all those things, but they won't say where that comes from. Obviously, that comes from Islam, but I digress. Let's keep going in the list. We already know what it is. We already know what time it is in Pakistan. And also in Pakistan, a lot of the people that come from Pakistan who are engaging in the violence against women go to places like UK where they do the grooming gang thing. That's really a big problem over in UK. The same people who grew up in the same culture in Pakistan go to UK and then engage in more of it. Sadiq Khan, London's mayor, I think he's also from Pakistan originally. His parents are from there, but he was born in UK. Now, I'm not saying he's some type of sexual offender, but what I will say is that some of the things that he has put into place in Londonistan make it more comfortable for some of these people who come from this culture. And I'll leave it at that. And you see them in the background talking. Let's get to number 5, Saudi Arabia. Now, you already know what time it is in Saudi Arabia. I know some people in Saudi Arabia. The people I know are pretty cool, but the culture, I mean, we can't deny it. You see the woman right here, beekeeper outfit. They just recently were able to drive, women that is. I'm talking like within the past year or so, they were able to drive, and there's still some restrictions. Women are most certainly oppressed in the Islamic world compared to what we have over here in the West. In the West, you have total freedom for people. Not total, where you could just do whatever you want and infringe upon others' rights, but nothing like what you have in Saudi Arabia. The conservative kingdom, which just made it legal for women to drive, ranked 5th most dangerous for women overall, but was 2nd most dangerous in terms of discrimination, property rights, and access to economic resources. Oh, wow. So got a lady under the car. She's driving for the first time. And Somalia. And then this caption right here says the East African nation has been mired in violent conflict since 1991. Third world country. You already know it's very dangerous for men and women. Rape is common. Child marriage, disease, hunger, all these things, very common. Syria, obviously, war-torn, third world country. 7 years of civil war between the government of Bashar al-Assad and extremist groups, including ISIS, have contributed to Syria being ranked 3rd most dangerous country in the world for women. And it's not very safe for men either, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Number 2, Afghanistan. Obviously, Afghanistan is dangerous for men and women and children, especially like the little boys, but that's a whole different story. And for now, I digress. But you see the caption that says, 17 years after the overthrow of the Taliban, experts say Afghanistan is still the 2nd most dangerous country for women overall, but is ranked worse in terms of economic access or resources and healthcare and non-sexual violence. So basically, you see what's going on. And then number 1, India. It says India has been shaken by a number of high-profile sexual assault cases since a student was gang raped and murdered on a New Delhi bus in 2012. Yeah, a big-time problem in India with sexual violence. That's been all over the news. That's nothing new. And it also says India is ranked the most dangerous place for women overall, as well as in terms of sexual violence and harassment, human trafficking, and cultural and traditional practices. So that's pretty much the list right there. But my question is, how did we go from a place like Nigeria, Pakistan, Afghanistan to the United States? Why is the U.S. even on the list at all? It seems like more of an honorable or dishonorable mention. But let's get into the article. It says the United States has been ranked for the first time. So this is a first time thing, and I'm not really sure how long this list has been put out there. But this is the very first time. I wonder what nation was there before them, because you have 10 nations, I suppose. Most of the nations had been there before. I wonder what nation is not there that could have taken the United States' place. But I'll move on. The U.S. has been ranked for the first time among the 10 nations deemed to be the most dangerous for women by experts in the field. A survey by the Thomson Reuters Foundation of about 550 experts in women's issues around the globe labeled the U.S. 10th most dangerous in terms of the risk of sexual violence, harassment, and being coerced into sex. The foundation said the U.S.'s placement on the dubious list was down largely to the Metoo movement and Time's Up campaigns increasing awareness of sexual violence and intimidation of women in the U.S. in the wake of criminal allegations against movie mogul Harvey Weinstein. So let me get this straight. Me Too and Time's Up, these things are able to rank you in a list of most dangerous countries alongside things like child marriage, 200 girls getting kidnapped in the middle of the day and sold off into slavery, third world violence, soldier rape, all kind of stuff like that. Extreme stuff that you see in these war-torn countries. Those things are the equivalent or on the same level as the Me Too movement, where quite frankly, a lot of people have gotten together and expressed regret for their personal choices. Now, I'm not saying that's the case all the time, obviously, not in the case of Bill Cosby, but a lot of it is just personal choices. Now, all of a sudden, you regret it. But I digress. And the article continues, people want to think income means you're protected from misogyny. And sadly, that's not the case. Cindy Southworth of the Washington-based National Network to End Domestic Violence told the foundation, we are going to look back and see this as a very powerful tipping point. We're blowing the lid off and saying hashtag Me Too and hashtag time's up. Okay. Let me see here. According to the survey, which was last carried out in 2011 and did not then rank the U.S. among the top 10 most dangerous nations, India is the most perilous country for women right now. Now, I'm trying to figure out what country could have been there that is not. Most of this article, as it continues, just about Me Too and why the countries that were there were actually there. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. This was really crazy to see. At the end of the day, these people just put the United States in there because of the Me Too movement. This is why we have to fight against things like this, because now this list, I mean, how much clout does it have? This is being reported by CBS News. So ask yourself this: how many Sunday shows and whatnot will this list be referenced in when they talk about violence against women, when they talk about the travel ban and stuff like that? I can predict it right now. People will say you have a travel ban against these third world nations because of certain things happening in the country. They are dangerous places for women to live. But what about us? We got blood on our hands as well. So then it just kind of muddies the waters and makes things more confusing for the average person who's out there who doesn't really understand about politics. They see a list like this and then they start to ask questions themselves. It's misinformation. It's propaganda, quite frankly, which is why I wanted to do a video on it to just push against the propaganda and give you some real information. Why is a place like China not on the list? I mean, because of the one-child policy in certain places in China, a lot of female babies are murdered. It was one baby that was flushed down the toilet. They had to open up a PVC pipe to get her out. Like they had to open up the wall, the drywall, cut out the toilet pipe and rescue the baby. Some of them get thrown in a garbage can. It's just really a lot of violence against little girls. Okay. And then if we're going to talk about a place being dangerous for women in the United States, you could have used a better argument. You could have used Planned Parenthood because of all the women who have their bodies mutilated by doctors and the babies who are also sometimes female get mutilated by a doctor. There's other places in the world. I'm sure a place like Mauritania in Africa who still has slavery right now to this day. I'm talking about chattel slavery. They have it right now. Why is that not listed in the most dangerous places for women? What happens to these women who get sold into slavery? I mean, you tell me. I don't have to really be graphic, but you could pretty much put two and two together. Why are they not there on the list? Now, you may have some human trafficking that happens here in the U.S., but it's not legal. It's not sanctioned. It's not out in the open. It's not like if there's some human trafficking going on that it wouldn't get put to an end. If there was slavery here going on and somebody gets caught doing it, they're going to go away for a long time. So another thing is that some of the human trafficking comes from other countries. Like I was saying in the previous video, where I live in Tennessee, they raided a quote unquote massage parlor and 3 Chinese women who speak no English. They were all arrested. Work visas all messed up. A lot of this comes from other countries. And that, again, back to China and other countries, why do they send their women here to get trafficked? What's going on in their particular country? The only reason why the U.S. is on this list is because of, in my opinion, lobbyists that pushed forward the Me Too movement, the Time's Up movement, and said the U.S. is dangerous as well. And they also cited some other statistics talking about 1 in 3 women globally will become victim of violence and or sexual violence. Well, that same thing can be said about men, because most of the people who get murdered in the world are men, and then men are also victims of sexual violence. You're talking about the Catholic Church, the Baptist Church, the Islamic religion, a lot of the boys in Afghanistan. I mean, let's just keep it real. And if you go to prison, that's a whole different ball of wax. So at the end of the day, this list is just trying to push forward a narrative, and it's just politically expedient and trying to get some money at the end of the day. I mean, I wonder how much money the Me Too movement and Time's Up movement have raised individually. How much money did it take to get lobbyists to put the U.S. in this list? Because what it does, as I close, it gets some more visibility. It gets them out there more to the public, so they'll have a better way of being able to push forward their message. They'll say, when they're going to a meeting or when they're going to meet somebody to get some money, they'll say, well, the U.S. is the 10th most dangerous place for women to live. And then they have to study to back it up that has been tried and true and tested for a long period of time to some people, or to those people who actually matter, to give some money out to these particular individuals, maybe even to the federal government itself. It could matter to them, not to Trump, I don't think, or anybody that has a brain in their head, but maybe to some of those on the left in particular places. It could bode well for them. But I'm rambling. I want to know your thoughts about this. Do you think that the U.S. is a dangerous place for women to be? The top 10, surely there can be at least 20 more places that are more dangerous for women. Even in Europe, I mean, let's look at Germany with the migration crisis. How many women have been raped, sexually assaulted, or whatever as a result of that? Same thing in Sweden and Malmö. You got no-go zones. I mean, why are those not listed in this list? You got third world countries in the U.S. This is obviously a very biased list. So some of these lists, take it for a grain of salt. Don't believe everything you see or hear, but hopefully you enjoyed this video. I got some links for PayPal, Patreon, all of that in the description box. I also have some merchandise. It should be below this video on the shelf. Click on some of those, get some merch. And if you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.